thing. Tomorrow at Attar they get a day off, but this is the end of the first half of the rally and an opportunity for some people perhaps to stamp their authority. Maybe that's why people were trying quite hard today on the 435-kilometre link. Another early start for the bikes this morning. 8 o'clock this morning is when they set off. 109 bikes still running in the event, and two quite difficult sets of dunes to get through today, as well as some long fast sections, a few stony sections, not quite as many as we have seen in recent days. Once again, the leaders tending to ride together. Jordi Arcaron's getting stuck in the soft sand, and many people getting themselves bogged down considerably in this soft sand today. Quite dusty too, and some of the engines running a little rich with the air filters being clogged up by all the sand that's kicked up, this very dry sand that's kicked up by the competitors ahead. Well, the dust and sand can cause problems, and it did for this man, Joan Roma. Richard Sainct had a little moment ahead of him. Roma was not going that quickly when it all went wrong for him, and suddenly the front wheel just disappeared down a hole that he hadn't seen and chucked him over the handlebars with a suspected broken leg. He says, well, the front wheel just went in just after I'd seen Richard Sainct with a problem in front of me. I didn't see anything before I went over the top, and the bike just clipped me on the way down. It's very painful now. I don't know if anything's broken or not, but the worst thing is to realize that I've lost everything just because of that. Can't believe it. It's terrible.
Bueno, pero es más, me duele más la moral que la pierna, ¿sabes?
So very dispirited Joan Roma. Good news was he hadn't broken anything, but he did tear some ligaments in his knee. But just when we thought it was disastrous enough to lose one leader, we lost the leader, Richard Sainct, out with a blown engine. He said everything was okay up until this point, but unfortunately right here the engine simply broke. Just went suddenly, no warning. There's nothing to do about it. I don't feel that I'm very lucky, because this engine was due to be changed tomorrow at the rest halt at Attar. This is the first engine problem our team has had on this rally. And of course it's unfortunate that it's happened to me. Just 100 kilometers from the stage finish. We have to deal with that, nothing else to do. So very disappointed Richard Sainct. He had a moment earlier, as I mentioned before, and it's possible he may have damaged an oil line then that may have caused that sudden KTM engine failure. But there we are, Sainct is out. But this man, Alfie Cox, was riding extremely well today, very fast indeed, and fastest by nearly 1 minute to everybody else. Absolutely loved the stage, said it was like a road race. And although he's some way off the leaders, he's certainly enjoying himself. Jordi Arcaron, who got out of that soft sand, he was second fastest today to Alfie Cox, and now is second overall. Some 20 minutes off the lead, but carefully he's getting up towards the top of the leaderboard. The Spaniard has finished on the podium so many times on the Dakar in the past, still to win it, however, and wouldn't he love to do that this year? Another KTM rider, and this is the man who's taken over the overall lead of the event, Fabrizio Meoni, the 43-year-old Italian. Now watch him here, he has a little tumble at this section. Oh, down he goes. That was Meoni, nothing too serious. In fact, he did get stuck in the sand as well, a little bit like Arcaron's, except it was even deeper. He was down by about half a metre, and he was helped out of that by Kari Tiernan. So Tiernan helped dig him out, and that got him back on track once again. Here we are looking at Kari Tiernan, and he was the good Samaritan to another member of his team as well. In fact, Richard Sainct earlier on, when he'd had his fall right at the beginning of the stage, he'd helped him then and got him to the refueling point. Then he went on and helped Meoni, and Tiernan was still fourth on the stage, but he is back in 38th place overall. Esteban Pujol, who was fastest yesterday, remember, he was fifth fastest on this section, and that puts him in fourth place overall, some 56 minutes off the lead. Top 5, all KTMs today, both on the stage and in the overall standings. The KTM team certainly riding well together, all of them working together very much as a team, and team boss Heinz Kinnigadner very pleased to see that. Esteve Puyol enjoying it. Here's John Deacon, and John had a reasonable day today, 6th fastest. He's still in 8th place overall. BMW only learned yesterday that their appeal against the 30-minute penalty that he was given early in the rally had been chucked out, so he didn't get the 30 minutes back, I'm afraid. So still battling for it, and his teammate Jimmy Lewis, top BMW in 6th, John in 8th place overall. Carlo De Gavado, the Chilean, who's been very impressive so far on the rally, now into 3rd place overall. Now, here's an example of the KTM teamwork. On the left is Giovanni Sala. De Gavado pointing out that he had a punctured rear tyre. Now, Sala is a long way down in the overall order, 20th place. So, simple solution. The wheel swapped over from Sala's to De Gavado's. Sala there on the right, giving De Gavado as much help as possible. And this is the sort of KTM teamwork that perhaps we haven't always seen in the past, but is really helping them this time. Per Gunnar Lundmark, the Swedish rider, still running 8th fastest today, but after the problems with his chain the other day, he's 29th overall. And Francois Flick runs in 7th place overall. So, some major changes on the bikes today. Let's take a look at those results. First of all, looking at today's stage results, Alfie Cox with the advantage by almost a minute to Jordi Arcaron's Fabrizio Meoni with that 3rd place, enough to put him now into the top position. So Fabrizio Meoni now leads the Dakar Rally as we reach the halfway point. Britain's Mike Hughes was 89th last night, but may have made up several places today. When he went through the 3rd checkpoint, he was up slightly on that. So he's still running. That's good news. Let's hear now from some of those top riders from today.
Today has been a difficult day, says Fabrizio. The route was extremely difficult with a lot of sand and also quite a lot of stones too.
Hard day for me, but the event starts to go the right way for me. Unfortunately, Roma and Sainct have retired, and they were my toughest opponents. But that's the event, and this time I decided this year to wait patiently and not to take too many risks, and that's not always easy to do. At the moment it's going well, I feel good. I'm ready for the second part of the event. Even if Dakar is still a long way away, I'm up there, I'm top of the leaderboard, but there's no way that this event is yet finished.
Per adesso sta andando tutto bene, quindi sto bene, sono a posto. Sono pronto per la seconda parte della corsa, anche se la Dakar è lontana ancora, e quindi
so Fabrizio Meoni now at the top of the standings with Joan Roma and Richard Sainct out of it, and with a great chance, but there's still another 10 days to go, remember. Let's hear from Alfie now.
Today was the real Dakar. I mean, we've had very big dunes, soft sand. It's been a very difficult day, and the other days have not been difficult at all, and today was really a very difficult day for the Dakar. So I think many riders are going to have problems today, and you know, my job was to stay with Jordi and Fabrizio to look for them, and we've pushed each other the whole way, and we've done a good time today, and maybe the time is going to change. Who's the leader? And Fabrizio could have a chance if Richard Sainct doesn't come quickly. It's been a very good day, and I've enjoyed it.
You know, for Nani Roma, he's breaking his leg.
Nani Roma broke his leg. Oh, that is so sad. Oh. Okay, that's not so good.
So Alfie learning of Roma's accident. As we said, though, Roma didn't actually break his leg, as it turned out in the end. Coming up after the break, we'll give you the story of what went wrong for the rally leader in the car sections. Jose Maria Servia having a terrible day, but we do have a new rally leader amongst the cars, and that's Hiroshi Masuoka. We'll tell you more about that when we come back after the break, with more coverage on the Dakar here on Eurosport.
The simple words we take for granted.
I'll be right back. We're gonna have to ditch.
This year, one man will find the courage to keep that promise. Tom Hanks, Castaway.
What Euromaster does for each driver on the Paris-Dakar Rally, Euromaster does for each driver every day of the year in its service centres. Euromaster. What drives us is you. Tires, exhausts, brakes, shocks, batteries, oil. Euromaster.
The new Mitsubishi Pajero Pinin. Take it off-road.
Off the coast of Africa, in the sunshine of the Gran Canaria, 4 European sides take their winter break. A chance to work on tactics and to contest the 18th tournament of Maspalomas, featuring Galatasaray, the Dutch champions PSV Eindhoven, Rosenborg of Denmark and Hertha Berlin. The Maspalomas tournament from Gran Canaria, Galatasaray versus Hertha Berlin, Thursday night at 7:30, live on British Eurosport.
Back to the Total Paris Dakar 2001 with Total.
So while we got plenty of drama amongst the bikes today, we also had it amongst the cars. This is the picture of Jose Marie Servia, the man who's led for the last few days ever since Schlesser got his 1-hour penalty. But he got stuck on the top of a dune, and that wasn't the major problem. The major problem was the hydraulic jack that they use. They have these onboard jacks which help them lift the car out of trouble when they do get stuck. Unfortunately, the jack on one side of the car then stayed stuck down, and they couldn't get it to retract back into its housing, and that was what was caused a huge delay. In fact, they lost a full 2 hours and 13 minutes trying to sort out the problem of this hydraulic jack refusing to go back up. And what a crazy problem, but there you are, that's how it was, and there was nothing they could do about it. Well, we have the problem with the jack, and we just can't get it to go back up. Well, we just can't seem to get it to work properly, and we're losing time because of it. So there you go, that was their major problem today, trying to get that jack back in its housing, and as I say, it didn't want to know. Eventually they were to get out, but it took them an awfully long time before they were able to come through. And also problems today for Jean-Pierre Fontenay. Well, we had the problem again. We were coming in a straight line, and the wheel just came off. It came detached from the car. We did about 100 kilometers, and then the drive shaft has come off, and we're trying to get it back together, but I don't know if we're going to be able to fix it very quickly. So poor old Jean-Pierre Fontenay, he's lost a huge amount of time as well as a result of all that. 2 hours, 21 minutes it cost him today. So he's really out of the top battle. He's in 7th place overall, but several hours behind the leaders. It's so quick, things can change on the Dakar. You can look so comfortable up at the front, and then in just an instant, like we've seen today for a number of riders and drivers, the whole thing changes around. So here is our new rally leader in the Dakars. It's the Japanese driver Hiroshi Masuoka. Has finished every Dakar since 1994, which is an incredible run of finishes. That's 7 Dakars in a row he's managed to complete, and he's now the overall leader by 45 minutes, but he's never been on the podium before. Let's see if it's his chance in 2001. Jutta Kleinschmidt running well. She was 3rd on stage. She was 15 minutes slower than Masuoka today, and that puts her in 2nd place overall. And Jean-Louis Schlesser himself, well, remember, he protested Jutta Kleinschmidt's time yesterday. There's been no news of that protest being upheld. The times remain from yesterday, so I don't think the Schlesser protest has been successful. Schlesser had his own problems. He had this puncture, which required changing the rear tyre, but apart from that, he was pretty comfortable, and he was still 2nd fastest on the stage, 9 minutes behind Masuoka, and that keeps him in 3rd place overall. So up to 3rd place now, 55 minutes off the lead. 10 days to go. That 55 minutes could still be made up. Carlos Souza in the other Mitsubishi. 4th today and lying in 4th place overall. He's only 3 minutes off Jean-Louis Schlesser though, so there's something to chase for Carlos Souza. Great variety of terrain once again to deal with. Thierry de la Verne, 6th today. Well, we're jumping around a lot this morning. Are we okay with the road book today, he's saying? There's a drop in about 200 meters. We think we're on the right route. 200 meters to watch out, because there's a bit of a hole. Oh, there it is. The road book just marking some of these more difficult hazards on their route, so at least they then know that they're on the correct path if they find a hazard, a hole or a set of stones where it says they should be. At least they then know that they are actually going the right direction. Stefan Onrad, 5th today in the VW buggy. Not particularly high-tech machine, but it just shows that you can still get good results with a fairly basic machine. He's lying in 8th place overall. And listen to that V8. That is Bruno Sabi in the Pro Truck. He's still going okay. His 2 teammates have had their problems. He's 10th overall. There's Stefan Peter-Hansel, 6-time former winner on the bikes and fastest in T1 again today, the production class, leading the class by a full 3 hours ahead of the Mercedes of Thierry Magnaldi. And that's Henri Pescarolo, the many times Le Mans winner who always does the Dakar, certainly has done for many, many years now. He was 11th today and is in 17th place overall. He's missing the initial testing of his sports car team running in Barcelona this week, but nonetheless he's enjoying himself on the Dakar. Number 233, Gianni Laura Lamia, 17th today, 27th overall. On board now with Thierry Magnaldi in another of the T1 category. We mentioned he's 3 hours behind Peter Hansel. Former bike rider, of course, himself, like Peter Hansel. Magnaldi finished second to Richard Sainct on the bikes 2 years ago, in 1999. But not having much joy in the sand. So the co-driver, Borsotto, jumping out and doing a little bit of sand checking, finding out where there's maybe a little more firm sand that will get them out of this trouble. So, and problems here for Eric Vigouroux, who was 48th yesterday in the other Pro Truck. As you can see, had quite a big rollover. He said we stopped in the sand and the car just fell onto its side. The truck's going to help us. It's the only way we can get out of this. So, Eric Vigouroux, sort of the support man really in the Pro Truck, rode the quad last year on the Dakar and having his own problems today. So let's take a look at those results then. As I say, all change again in the cars. Hiroshi Masuoka fastest, Schlesser second fastest, but the fact was that Servier lost over 2 hours, as did Fontenay, so that's dropped them both well out of the top 5. And Masuoka is now our rally leader. Stephen Rogers and Philip Turner were still going. They were 76th last night, but there was no sign of them through the first checkpoint as yet today. Let's hope that the one remaining British car is still in there.